this meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission special meeting on October 21st to order. Let the roll call show that all are present except for Barbara. And again, special meeting, so we can't change the agenda, but I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I move to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, agenda is approved. And then the next item is actually approval of the meeting minutes for September. So if everyone needs a minute to read those over or had a chance to read them, and then entertain a motion to accept them or make changes.
So I'll move that we approve them as written.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Now, moving on to action items. So taking the figures that we talked about at our September meeting, I did meet with the interim treasurer, not interim treasurer, but consulting treasurer, whatever style is. Dave.
Oh, Dave. Yeah. That's
Right after that meeting, and he just took the numbers that we came up with, which are reflected. Thank you, Kelsey, for putting that into a nice looking budget request. At the time, he didn't think that there were any issues with that. He thought it was all reasonable, didn't need any more data. I don't know what the timing is for, discussion by council or mayor to approve.
I think in the past, however, things are a little different this year because this is a different person, but in the past, the preliminary budget hearing will be next council meeting on the 12th, and that will just be a line item in there, historic pres, this amount. If anybody has any heartburn with it, they'll bring it up, highly unlikely. And it'll just be, I believe that's how it will work. I don't think there'll be an IBAT at that amount.
Okay, so we would hear in November, one way or the other, if it's been modified or approved.
If not at the preliminary, for sure at the final budget. We have 2 hearings for that, so you'll know by December 7th, because we have to know by December 7th, so everyone will know by December 7th. Statutorily, we have to have it done by then.
Yeah, okay. And since it's for 2026 anyway, that will.
I think it'll be fine.
Great.
So I think you're all good to go.
So the brochure, that includes that's the printing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Kinsey found that. She did good. She's a good researcher.
And yeah, if we wanna jump ahead to that, did find the last time it was printed in 2016. And it did come to a little over that, but I think there were enough copies that they obviously lasted almost 10 years. And that
because they got 1,600.
Yeah, we got.
I don't think we were planning
lot.
on doing. I think we were planning on 500. So I would imagine that would cover it still. Great.
So this is what we went on like.
See this, yeah.
Right.
Not like this.
And the digital setup, we might be able to save some there too.
So we do have a digital copy of this, so it'd be easier to edit.
Yes, and I received that.
Okay.
Are we very attached to the 4-fold, or could it be possible to do a more traditional 3-fold?
I think as long as we can get the information we want on it, 3 would be fine. In fact, there might even be too much information on this one.
Yeah, I think we can still keep all the information, maybe edit down some of the paragraphs, but keep all the same information. And then with just some design choices. Like this wavy bar takes up a good amount of space, so there are some other design choices we can do to kind of help. I think we can definitely get it onto the, because it's still the same amount of space, really. I don't think any of this copy is too terribly small, but.
Right, and since we're not using grant money to print it, I mean, this whole chunk about funded through the
Yeah.
Department of Interior.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need to include that this time.
I don't know how we shrink it down though.
Oh, no,
Pictures.
I am fully confident that I can do it and keep it where the copy doesn't drop below 8 points for any of the important information.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
And then 10 point for any of the actual, but there's a lot of letting space in here as well. There's just things that can be done to, it's like.
Letting space, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
The space in between the lines,
Yeah.
the horizontal spacing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just things, and then there's like there's things you can do within columns. Like, see, there's just kind of space right now, right here,
there's
that's
a lot
like
of
sort of
space.
wasted. There can still be design elements that don't take up half an inch, kind of thing. So
Right.
yeah, I'm very confident that I can do that. So.
And then definitely mention that we've got a website or a page on the city's website that has a resource guide and it's got
that would be great to
forms and-
tease that. Yeah.
Include the
Yeah.
resource guide,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like, are you talking like on the online resources, there on the back where it has the different ones listed? But the cities, cause the city's not even on there,
That's true.
so that should probably, I think maybe the top one. But
Right, because in almost, 10 years, we have developed some resources that are now on our website.
Right.
So we don't have to point people
Yeah.
yes,
necessarily to other
maybe
websites.
have that be the.
We could even include a QR code.
Yeah.
Now that folks are comfortable with QR codes.
Yes, we could. Or even looking at the illustrations, we do have 2 properties on local register. We could, the rose bush has to be one of those.
So,
We could say that is now on the local register as a caption.
this down here, the Woodard House on this picture, is that address correct? Cause that's not in Millwood.
9212.
It's, that
That's
says
right.
3402.
No, that's all right. 3112 East Frederick.
What? It says 3402 East Frederick.
Right.
That is not a Millwood address.
That's not the correct address.
No.
It's 3212.
So that should, probably might wanna correct that.
That's a biggie.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Very good catch, yeah.
That is not in Millwood, 3402.
I think we're kind of skipping ahead, but.
Yeah, we are.
I would, so for the process, I'll go ahead and take this and kind of take the notes that I've just taken here. And then, since we don't have to wait for the budget to be approved, I can get this done by the next meeting. And so then that way we can have time to copy edit it as a group. Everyone can look at it and make sure everything's factually correct. And then, that way once the budget is approved, we can move forward with printing them.
Yeah.
Since it doesn't cost anything real money.
Appreciate you volunteering to do that work on it.
I'm excited to put my newspaper skills to paper design.
Alright, were there any other comments on the budget before we move on from that? Nope. So trail signage, we did include in the packet hard copies of the drafts of 3 signs that are not done on the trail. So there are still 3 blank places along the Millwood Trail that need signage. And from what notes I had, I think these were the topics that had not been included on the trail yet. So we have the Inland Empire Paper Company, the Winter Village of the Spokanes, and the Subway Grandview Acres.
That'd be great to get these done.
So again, we wouldn't be able to get them produced or anything until next year, budget depending.
And
But
weather.
just wanted to give people the opportunity to start looking at them and thinking about the redesign that we might want on the Millwood Trail signs.
And the signs are what, 24 by 17? Is that the same size?
It would be the same size that
Because
are out there.
there's a lot of pictures you can't even, really see what they are. There's too many.
I believe, talking to Vicky, that the IEP sign was already approved by representatives at the paper company, so. But I think whatever changes we might make to it, it would probably be good to have them look at it one more time. I know that in the past, the Winter Village of the Spokanes has been controversial. There have been expressed concerns by elected officials that, wanted it to be documented that the Spokane tribe approved of that. I know Vicky and Bobby, who did the work on this, do have emails from tribal representatives saying it looked good to them, fine. So I don't know if they need any more than that.
Yeah, copies of the emails. Yeah, I have some because I went to initial contact with John Mack, and he was like, "Let me get back to you on that." So we've got a trail of communication with them. So it exists. It's just a matter of getting it together. Why would they think we would need to be told to document? We don't just make stuff up, Just kind of.
I think it was just making sure that, whatever we put in print about any tribe, that it's been reviewed and approved.
Well, some of this is from the SpokaneTribe.com, so it's from their website. So it's just like it's good to be questioning about stuff, but I think we can be trusted to put facts down and not make stuff up. So we'll get them emails if that's what they want.
Yeah.
I do think it is valuable to offer more information. Like, I think offering information that this information was done in working with, just because of the sensitivity of this topic, I think it is only a benefit to say this was approved, or we worked with the Spokane
Yeah.
tribe.
According to the or something, even to work it in the very first line, representatives of the Spokane tribe provided the following, and then
So that way it's not like, a bunch of white people are saying this about the native tribe.
Even though we didn't do it, let's have evidence that we didn't.
Exactly. Like if it's not gonna hurt.
It was like our first concern.
Because I know, if I came up to that sign, I definitely would be more critical.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I would appreciate seeing okay, they did their due diligence. I appreciate that. So and plus, if we end up kind of rejudging these, I'd love to see some column adherence. Would be great. I think it would be great for anyone IEP and the Spokane tribe to both just kind of be like, yep, we approve.
Seal of approval.
Yeah.
So one time there was talk of a QR code that was going to lead to other information, which might be.
I know that I just mentioned QR codes. I love a good QR code as long as it's effective and it works. It's really, I think, frustrating when you come across one that doesn't work. So something like brochures where we can replenish those every few years and we can update that. To me, that makes sense to have a QR code on a sign. I think it would the links can break, you just have to maintain them.
Yeah.
So I think,
That's why we didn't do them, cause we
Yeah.
talked about this 2 years ago.
yeah, so I would say not on the signs, that to me doesn't make sense, but on a brochure, I think it makes sense.
And also people might not have, the access, so,
Yeah,
cool. That's really cool.
this is great.
Yeah, so I'd suggest that we've got 3 to work with and just encourage commissioners to start looking them over and making notes.
Yeah.
And then Colleen, again, if you wanna play with design, just a format that we could plug anything that we come up with into what we wanna see in the signage. Not too far away from what exists out there, because I think we've talked about if we find a better design, then we might go back to the old ones, but again, that's an expense that we wouldn't have for next year.
Right.
To have them, yeah, kind of look the same, but if there are any improvements that you see, let's suggest them. And
Well, especially since there's sign format's already established in position. So if we change the format too much now, it's gonna look like
it's
kind of
just,
haphazard. So
yeah.
maybe sticking to this as much as possible, just for the consistency with what's already out there.
Well, there's just very simple things like this can be lined, like there's just some very basic
Tiny
like
stuff.
columns that can be listened to.
Right.
Rules that are being broken unnecessarily.
Well, and I would point out that this is draft. I think the
Yeah.
final ones out
They
there
don't
are
look like this,
reformatted.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
We'll buy the company,
Christina
buy the,
worked on that.
not the, whoever it was, so we did the actual signs.
Right, this was
They require
proposed,
format,
and then
yeah.
when it came to this office and the sign company, they played with the design a little bit more.
Right.
Sometimes I think visual, of course I would think this, but I think sometimes visual communication can do a lot. And so when I propose, I will propose within this land. I will also probably show options of what could be, because I think that could be very powerful in communicating what we like. We want our signs to be updated so they can look this good. And that I think is a better argument rather than being like, oh, the signs are good enough, like we won't worry about it for another 5 years. So
It's not that they're good enough, it's that they're consistent with what's already out there.
right, that's what I'm saying.
I think
So
I
that's-
acknowledge all the, what was it, 2017 we started this? So there's many hours of work that have gone in. I
Yes,
think
there.
we can improve and update without denigrating what's, the uselessness of what went before.
I'm not saying that, and
Okay.
if you're getting that, I apologize for that
Well, and
that feeling that
the
you're
people
getting.
who worked on it, I want them
No,
to
and I
know.
honor the people that worked on it, and I
Okay.
appreciate the work that they did. I'm just saying, in order to make something better and improve on something with all the hard work that went into it, I think it's important that they look good as well.
Mhm.
And so for me, it would be a priority to have in the future these signs be updated so that they are engaging and that they follow design principles that bring people in rather than folks just walking by and ignoring all the hard work that went into them.
And also, we didn't, when you go ahead and do it, but if it goes back to that same company, aren't they gonna tweak it and make it
No, the reason why
user-friendly?
they tweaked it was because it was not formatted for print, and I know how to format things for print, so that's what I'm saying. We can even ignore the digital setup charge because I know how to set up files for print.
Mhm.
And we may not go back to the same sign company.
That'd be
I mean,
good
that's
too,
just
especially if it's
I
not
think
cost
some of those
effective.
changes might have been in-house
Right.
prior
Right.
to
Yeah,
going there. So I don't know that we can blame it all on the digital printing or the printing company. I think some of that took place prior to.
Right.
So that you would have license to. I mean, and that's why you say you give them options that way you've got. But I think there might have been some here in the office.
there was.
There was.
Like I used to tell the article people, you can have the best article in the entire world, but if there's not an entry point, if there's not enough entry points for folks to get engaged by it, they're not going to stop and look at it. And if we want people to stop and look at it, we need to make it engaging.
Yeah, there's a science to that whole.
There is, and
I don't understand it.
I can educate as much as you can.
And I know we've talked in the past that there's so much information, like so much text,
Yes.
that people won't stop and read, but we can put all that information on our website.
Yeah, and an example
We don't want to lose that.
of a real life like signage that I think does a pretty good job of this is the gardens that were The Spokane Preservation Society documented the preservation of the gardens over by the camp, Corbin Art Center.
Oh, right.
And they have just in with their signage, they have like a little timeline and just various little elements that kind of bring each sign together, as well as tell a comprehensive story of the property. And that, I think that is something that could help elevate all of the hard work that went into this.
Yeah, and
So,
direct people for more resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go
so
ahead.
if you want an example, that is where I would send for like you to go look and see what could be possible for those signs, because they're pretty cool.
Cool. All right, so start looking those over, come up with suggestions. We can review those the next couple months. Any other thoughts on the trail signage? So is there been any update or thoughts or staff report for the historic district signage? No, I'm just gonna keeping it on the agenda.
I think,
at some point,
yeah, I think those
Oh,
ones come for the
I was thinking that.
budget
Yeah.
for next year.
like putting on the signposts that designate the historic district.
No updates. We, as you see, survived, or somewhat have survived, the Argonne project, but as you can see, the light poles are still not even there, which means the other light poles are not there either, and don't know when those are gonna be. They're all delayed. For the streetlight ones, they're talking maybe not December or January. So I don't know about the others, when those are gonna even show up. So there's been delays on those, but at least they're open. At least it's open.
At least it's
It's true.
At least it's open. So yeah.
Pedestrian crossing now.
Yes, and I think there is
Intersections.
still some things that are gonna be maybe more silent. I'm not exactly sure if all of that is complete, if there's more things that are happening with that, but a lot of the lights and signage and that sort of thing we're waiting on. So yeah, no update on any of that stuff.
And that will probably be more long-term, like
Yes.
later next year, but.
But it's in your budget,
Okay.
right? And
Yep.
it's not a huge budget item anyway,
Right.
so, yeah, so that was good.
Alright. We've already discussed the brochure update, got Megan Duvall meeting, and that was just kind of a placeholder, because I know you're gonna reach out to Megan about
I did, yeah. I reached out to her, and she had offered to come to this meeting, but I think I got back to her a little bit late. There was just a lot going on. So she said she's happy to come to any meeting to just give her a heads up. And I told her a bit about what we wanted to talk about, and I think she's just really excited to be invited. She wants to come talk to us. So
Oh,
she's
cool.
yeah, she wants to come chat. So I can reach out again and let her know when the next meeting is gonna be.
So I had a thought walking over here. Is this a type of meeting that we would wanna do jointly with the planning commission? Because we wanna be educated about what an overlay district is, what its purpose would be, what it would take to get one. And for an overlay district, it would have to, be championed by us, but would have to really go through the planning commission for approval. Would they entertain a meeting to
Right now?
about that?
They are in comprehensive plan.
Okay.
It is not good timing, I would not think, for outside.
Maybe then we can meet with her.
Yeah.
Gather our
I can
questions
ask
first.
them, but they're just about done with the comprehensive part. They're starting the developmental regulations, and that is gonna be a huge project, and that has to be completed by, they're on a time frame. They gotta be done by the end of 2026, so the timeline, I don't know if you've looked at the comprehensive plan that's on but she adopted a timeline at the very beginning, a year ago, and it is extremely aggressive, and I don't know how, but somehow she's managed to stay on it. They've managed to stay on the timeline for this year, and they have the same, very aggressive timeline for next year, and even more material to get through.
That's Amanda who set the timeline.
Yeah, because of all of the updates that have to be included and updated, it's insane. You should look at the comprehensive plan part, it's just, the amount of work is just
So-
insane.
Okay.
She has a page on the website that is just, it's so thorough,
So maybe
good.
maybe the strategy there is meeting with her for, so that way we can kind of figure out what we need to get in place and propose any budget items for the, like, next year for the following year.
Yeah.
And to get it a little bit more on the planning folks' awareness.
So we could give them a summary.
Yeah.
You know, what she said or what she recommends.
And that way they know very clearly what any action items they would need to have, but we would be doing all the legwork for them.
Yeah.
I think it would be probably the best.
They talked about an overlay, they talked about it years ago, but
Right.
never got it going on. And I don't know if that is part of the, part of what's going into the plan this year too. I've heard it mentioned here or there, but I'm not sure what. I mean, it might be something that she's gonna be talking about during this update.
Okay.
So I don't really know, but I know it is a process to get through.
Yes, yeah, it is. Well, would it be possible if we're looking at a November 18th meeting, just reach out and see if she would be available to come and meet with us? I mean, we could even clear the agenda and just have a discussion. That's our agenda, is to meet with Megan and just talk about that specifically, but maybe just in general, how are things going with the Spokane County Preservation and how Millwood fits in with that.
And would that be at the same time at 10:30?
I think we're gonna talk about going back to 10 o'clock. Just because they're not having construction meetings anymore.
Yeah, that's why we had to go later. Yeah, they're done with those for now anyway.
2 o'clock.
Well,
10.
10 o'clock in the
So-
morning on the third Tuesday.
Right, okay.
And then that way Barbara would be able to make her exercise class. If that was something that was. And if she can't, January or just ask, third Tuesday, 10 o'clock, what month might work, and then we will set the agenda for that. All right. So last thing on action items is the Main Street affiliate program, and so the last page of the packet is a half-page description of Main Street. I know Colleen and Alex, you were at the community association meeting where Shereen and I talked a little bit about that last month. And so Shereen came up with a half page. So the Main Street program is a program through the state that helps communities organize, become educated, be provided with resources to identify the assets in their community and then build projects around it that would help with visibility, with community engagement, as well as economics. Maybe attract people, businesses into the community. So this was something that was proposed. I think Amanda suggested that Millwood look into it. The community association, Shereen, wrote a proposal, and Millwood was accepted as an affiliate member of the Main Street program. And Sean and VC went to a conference the first part of this month. So we've got access to resources. Because of the historic nature of our district and an active preservation commission, the Millwood Historic Preservation Commission is a strong partner in the Main Street program. You see at the bottom of this, Shereen put my contact information down. I asked her to remove that for now because I don't think the Preservation Commission should be the lead of this. I think it needs to be a partner and not be perceived as the driving force, because not all the business community and residents know what we do and might not see this as a positive benefit. I want the ownership to be from a lot of the businesses.
Feel like that's
That makes
kind of get behind the whole thing.
That was my question, or related to my question, because I saw Shireen's proposal, which was many pages in a binder, you know, it's
Yes.
very detailed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what, you know, but I guess we could pick up that one part that's not the business community, not individual businesses, but just the kind of celebratory things like the centennial and, which I'm still pitching for the centennial, I'll do something for that. Preserve historic character, well, okay, that's what we do, whenever we can. We don't always get a chance, like people paint their brick buildings with paint, before they don't even bother to ask us, you know, or even think to question it, you know, maybe there's something they could do to be more consistent, and even if they don't abide by it, at least they would know. So we're just the historic arm of the Main Street.
I think so. That's what I would propose.
Yeah.
There are members from the community that are already being identified by Shireen that would serve on a separate Main Street committee. And I'm happy to sit on that as the Preservation Commission representative. But it is a long process of getting people together, getting focused on a project. If we decide to apply for an associate membership as opposed to affiliate membership, that does come with local businesses who are already paying business taxes to be able to identify that some of that business tax money come back to our community to be specifically used in projects that are identified by the Main Street Committee. So that's the incentive, that it's not just being a chance to organize, but use some financial resources to the projects that are identified. So I think that's a bonus, but that's in the long run. It's going to take a couple years to get organized, identify projects, get committee members to be trained before they take that next step to be an associate member, which would give the possible tax benefits. And I may not have all of that correctly, but just from what I get from reading all the background about the Main Street program. But I just wanted to let the commissioners know that this is something that's happening. If you've got any comments or anything that's, you know, is a red flag, please share that, speak up. If you want to be on this committee as well, as long as we don't have more than 3 commissioners, because then we're having a meeting and we'd have to post it.
I think,
I'm interested.
yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
one of us would definitely be interested.
Yeah, you'd have a foot in both camps, which would be good.
I say we have a foot in several camps, not just business owners, but also homeowners and parents of the next generation of Millwoodians.
So a lot of feet.
We care a lot.
But yeah, I'll continue to keep reporting back if there's anything to report.
I'm just wondering if there's any overlap with History Enthusiasts, which is not, you know, doesn't have any official structure like a business, a volunteer business. But there should be some way to overlap. They pull that in. I'm sure when things get back to normal, they'll be interested in that.
Yeah, and that is one thing about organizing and identifying partners in the community to come together to create these or to visualize these projects
Yeah.
and prioritize them and get behind them, is finding as many organizations like that that are,
We all grow together. I would think that would be a great way to get the high school
yes.
involved too.
Good. yeah. And you've got a foot in that camp too, so if anything comes up, anything that we can do, yeah, please let us know. And that does move into commission comments, and I wanted to bring up that I was traveling and
You
I
were
was
in
approached
Portugal.
by, I was in Portugal, I was having a great time, it was sunny, it was warm, it's beautiful, great country, I'd recommend anybody going to. But I was a Gonzaga student, right? And
so
I,
Mattingly,
yeah, so I pushed them off on Annie. So,
she's really delightful. She's a Gonzaga history student. Mattingly, I forget her last name, but she contacted us, and then Chris gave it to me to see what she wanted or what she's interested in. So I sent her a link to millwoodhistory.org. I sent her a link to all the videos which, by the way, Mary Pat's video, Vicky's video pops up. There's some things wrong with
the links are
they're messed up.
crossed.
And if you click on Mary Pat's video, Vicky's video replays. So it's in two places, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then the form that's on the website is missing the very important 11 criteria for qualifying. So I have one I'll send you that is, yeah, it's like
We've had more than a problem with that darn thing. First it wasn't there, then it was there, then it wasn't there, and now it's like,
Yeah, so I'll send you the one that I have. So she's I sent her some links, and I also told her I'd done a presentation at the anthropology conference, and would she want? I don't want to give it to her, but I said I'll go over it with you. So we're going to have a Zoom meeting on Friday, so I can walk her through the presentation, which is the history, some of the key points of history of Millwood, and. So supporting that, and I said, bring your friends and let other people know about it. So that's a positive thing. And then my other comment is I met with Joseph Miradon 2 weeks ago, and we sat in the conference room, in the meeting room, and went through some things on the Millwood nomination form. So at first he said, well, I don't really have any documentation. I said, well, okay, what's your parcel number? See if you can find your parcel number. So in the meantime, I found an online source of it at the county, found his parcel number, and he also dug out his title report, which is going to go in the package, which had this matching title number, so parcel number. So we've gone through that. He gave me I was going to bring it. It's a letter written by Seth Woodard. The historic significance of this house is that Joseph Woodard moved it from the original farmstead, moved it to a different place. Seth built on to it for his daughter. So that's why it's called the Bartleson Woodard house, because she married a Bartleson, on Bartleson. So there's Joseph Woodard, Seth Woodard, Myrtle Woodard, and the daughters were all born in the back bedroom. The mother died in the back bedroom. So I mean, it's heavy entrenched with the family. So he brought me, and it's a letter written by Seth Woodard detailing all that in his handwriting, dated August 1939. So that's really cool. There are a couple of photos out there. This one in the brochure that we looked at is modern. It's but it would be good to show the old version and the newer sided version. Where I'm going to run into, and I was comparing it to the nominations that we've done before. There are, like in the Rosebush House, there's a very detailed description of what's the walls were made, what the interior is like, what's this, and I don't know any of that architecture stuff. I don't know stucco. You want to help with that?
I know a bunch of that stuff.
Okay, so we'll see how he feels. I'm sure he's so thrilled that we're doing something that I think he would let us do a walkthrough at his convenience and say this is the kind of the wood that's used or whatever. So that's where it's moving. I had a chance to blast out a narrative, and then I realized it's all about Joseph Woodard, not about Seth, and nothing about Myrtle. So I've got to rearrange and fix stuff. But I just was brainstorming, gathering information that's relevant for the narration. So third thing.
Okay.
My class at Whitworth is working on research strategies. And so it's evolved into applied research that they could take with them to any situation in the future. So I said, well, I'm doing an applied research project. Go ahead. Yeah, which is a local register, getting a local house on the local register, and walk them through the process, and like, this is what you have to look for. Like, I'm doing all this relevant research, like down at the county, you know, pummeling Joseph for information, looking for photos that we might already have, because the Woodard House is really famous around here. So I was looking for what I could find. And then I showed them the video of Shireen's house, which is, it was relevant to this because she goes through the whole process of finding original timbers to enhance their house. They didn't just slap up a pergola and add on to the back of the house. They did everything consistent with the original. That was the original form of the house. So they were pretty interested. I mean, for board college students, they were pretty engaged. You know, it occurred, we were talking about high school, and it occurs to me that I've asked a lot of them, what we do the last 2 years of high school like, and they're like, it was like a job. All I did was play my sport, get in like 15 different clubs. What's the other thing that they have to? Oh, apply for college admissions. It's like we didn't learn anything. I haven't had an English class since I was 14 years old, you know. So with that, all due respect to the need to get some high schoolers in here, they're busy. They're jammed for time. So maybe younger even, like middle school, they got less pressure, and they're still smart. They're still bright. And we have Seth Woodard Middle School. You know, I'm just thinking.
It's an elementary school.
What was that?
It's an elementary school.
Seth Woodard?
Is it what,
It's
K
all-
through 6?
K through 6. Okay.
K through 5.
Okay. That was when my kids went there, so that's a long time ago. But yeah, so there's Centennial Middle School, and that's it, right?
And city.
Oh,
Yeah.
city school, which that's fine. They might. So I'm just saying, let's not underestimate middle schoolers or younger than high school, because they might have more time on their hands and they might still be interested. Because college students are already burned out by the time they get there. But anyway, that was just a way to bring interest in the Millwood and explain to them what goes on in historic preservation a little bit and research. So anyway, that's one of my spiel.
Good. Cool. Well, thank you for being that resource.
Joseph's application has taken a lot more time than I planned on, but I'll do what I can.
And there's no time limit on that.
Other than he's anxious to get it done. He was asking about the plaque. He said, "Do I buy the plaque or do you?" And I said, "Well, I think."
Well, that was the city that bought the last 2 plaques. So we would have,
Okay, good.
we didn't include it in the budget, but we do have some.
Okay, we might have some wiggle room. Yeah, he's very likes to talk, and he's a very good resource. So I'll keep going on that.
I know Commissioner Brannon really enjoys going onto sites and seeing things and being able to talk with.
Speculatory venture.
Well, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's a great resource. I can't tell a plywood from pressboard, so. Any other comments from other commissioners?
Today.
Any staff reports?
Sure. I'm willing, I can say now. I will be retiring at the end of the year. So,
Congratulations.
No, you may not, but congratulations.
it was gonna be November 1st, but.
Oh.
So we're lucky.
We appreciate, yeah.
So hence Kenzie's quick training where, but gosh, she's quick. She is quick and she is smart and she is really, it was golden find on her. She's just, I think, doing great. Super excited. She's gonna be a great resource, and so I think we're gonna be just fine. So we are in the process right now of hiring an admin, someone to help her do some things. So we've been heavy on the training, and she's been taking lots of classes, and so we're doing good there. So I think she's gonna be good. So,
That's also already had your training in Millwood days, so that.
yes, and I knew I was doing it then too, so that's why I had her coming to all
That's
those
good.
things, yeah. So she's gonna do great, so yeah, that'll be happening at the end of the year, and so lots of changes, we're gonna have a new mayor, we're gonna have a new, hopefully a treasurer by then, and it's just gonna be a lot of new. So, a lot more new than Millwood's had in a long time. So it's gonna be a little bit crazy it could be a little interesting there for a little bit, so. And on the other note, I'm not just retiring, I'm also moving.
Oh, wow.
My husband has accepted a job in another area, so we will be moving. Actually, he's already moved.
To a different state,
Same state, west side,
this side, oh, wow.
so lots of
Big changes.
big changes,
No
yes.
kidding.
So I've got my house on the market, trying to sell my house, and figuring out how all this is gonna work. There you go.
Was your house was not in Millwood, right?
No, it's not.
Well, congratulations on making that decision.
There you go, thank you. So there you go, that's what I know.
Alright.
Okay, so we're gonna do the November 18th, that's still good at 10 o'clock? Okay.
That works for everyone, let's do that.
Let's just check before we speak.
It's, not Thanksgiving week. So,
Thank goodness.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. We'll do 10 o'clock, sounds good. Alright,
with that said, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second,
All in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.
yay.
Thanks, everyone.